Hey everybody, Rainbow and Lorton here. I just want to come on here and talk about something.
Deputies in eastern Washington snapped steel cuffs around Rain Brown's wrists. In seconds, the cheerful rainbow of Alaskan bush people became the next inmate booked for burglary and malicious mischief beside her new husband Josiah Lorton. Fans gasped, how did the gentle scripture-quoting daughter end up behind bars? What hidden storm pushed her from forest refuge to fluorescent cell block? Stay tuned, because the final verdict is coming, and the very early signs say it's not good. Storm on the horizon, whispers scuttled across fan forums. Rain arrested? That can't be real. Yet the booking sheet didn't blink. Merry Christmas. Catherine Raindrop Brown, better known as Rain Brown, was listed facing first-degree burglary, first-degree malicious mischief, and second-degree criminal trespass. Somewhere between her 2025 Instagram wedding post and that April 11 paperwork, the youngest daughter of Discovery Channel's grittiest clan stepped across a legal threshold that viewers never imagined. Few outsiders realize how far North Star Ranch is from smooth pavement. Built after a wildfire torched the original homestead, the Washington property was Billy Brown's last dream before his fatal seizure. He imagined an enclave where 7 children could heal, raise future grandkids, and keep the Alaskan bush. In the years since, every Brown has tried to honor that directive. Gabe planted apple saplings. Noah rigged a solar water system. Bear carved trails for his kids. But Rain, who once split logs with adolescent glee, grew suddenly quiet off camera. She once burbled gratitude posts quoting psalms between puppy selfies. After Billy died and the show was canceled in 2022, Rain's feed grew cryptic. A February 2024 caption read, "When the sky breaks, it breaks you first." Fans worried, yet many shrugged it off as grief. No one foresaw burglary charges glowing on courthouse screens. What happened inside that shuttered lakeside cabin near Tanasket remains buried in a sealed affidavit. Investigators allege forced entry, shattered antique glass, and property damage exceeding $25,000. Supporters say the structure was half abandoned and that Rain went there seeking paperwork owed to her. One rumor claims the cabin belonged to her former manager, the same figure she'd later accused of stealing $43,000. Whatever the truth, her arrest rattled the wilderness brand Billy spent decades forging. Discovery executives issued a one-line statement. "We are monitoring developments." Sponsors for rerun deals paused promotions. Tabloids hammered keyboards, calling the final verdict on the Bush innocence myth. Meanwhile, Rain and Josiah chilled in County Holding, heads bowed beneath flickering tubes, smelling of bleach and regret. Online, 2 camps formed overnight. One cited her devout posts, insisting Rain lacked malice. The other dredged up clips where she challenged Billy's rules, arguing suppressed rebellion had finally detonated. Between them lay a third view. Grief, fame, and debt can warp judgment the way a polar night warps time. By sunrise on April 14th, the couple walked free on personal recognizance, but the blow to Rain's reputation already felt permanent, like a crack in river ice that never fully fuses. Across TikTok, tearful edits of Rain's campfire songs collided with sarcastic memes showing a cartoon bear behind bars. A Change.org petition demanding Discovery finance her defense reached 10,000 signatures within 24 hours. Yet equal numbers clicked unsubscribe, muttering that the Browns had overstayed their welcome after rerun marathons ended late 2022. For many disappointed fans, whatever followed would be anything but calm, roots in the wilderness long, before court dockets and handcuffs. Rain Brown's world was measured by tree rings and river ice. She arrived on a frigid November morning in 2002, the last spark in Billy and Amy Brown's brood of 7. Instead of lullabies, she heard chainsaws chewing cabin beams, and instead of suburban cul-de-sacs, she crawled over moss-slick logs in southeast Alaska's misty fjords. Discovery cameras found the Browns when Rain was 11. Producers expected a survival spectacle. They stumbled onto a complicated love story between a family and the land. Alaskan Bush People premiered in May 2014, and Rain's toothy grin became an instant shorthand for innocence. She chopped kindling half her size, spoke with a Tilda Shakespearean flourish, and slipped quick prayers into any silent moment. Viewers adopted her as the series' beating heart, the sibling who refused to cuss even when frostbitten. She once stitched old flannel scraps into doll dresses, convinced that every leftover thread deserved a second adventure under moonlight. Yet fame carries a strange weight. Shooting schedules replaced seasons. Privacy evaporated faster than creek water on a campfire grate. When classmates posted selfies at prom, Rain posted footage of hauling elk quarters through sleet. She claimed she didn't mind until 2018, when her Instagram caption whispered, "Some days the mud feels ankle deep in my soul." Teenage tension emerged. Requests for store-bought makeup. Battles with trolls accusing the family of fakery. Whispers that Rain might bowl for college. Billy believed hardship forged character. Amy, battling lung cancer, believed faith conquered despair. Between those polar stars, Rain tried to steer her path. She watched Matt and Joshua clash with addiction and paparazzi, watched Birdie contemplate surgery that might cost motherhood, and watched producers push for higher drama each season. The line between documentary and performance blurred until even sharing a sunrise felt scripted. When Billy died in February 2021, the show's compass spun out. Ratings dipped. Discovery trimmed budgets. After season 14 in 2022, the series quietly ended. Rain, then 19, faced a modern world without the camera crew that had doubled as her classmates. She posted "Goodbye Forever" beneath a photo of the snow-buried Browntown cabin, a cryptic farewell many assumed meant city life. Instead, she followed family north to Washington's Okanagan Highlands, helping rebuild North Star Ranch. Off-grid utopia is expensive. Insurance barely covered charred lumber. Rerun royalties slowed. Contracts once worth $500,000 an episode vanished overnight. By late 2023, Rain picked up waitressing shifts at a rustic diner near Chelan, where she met head chef Josiah Lorton. Tattoos, quick wit, and a habit of blessing every plate before it left the pass. They bonded over hymns and hash browns. Within months, they were inseparable, carving initials into ponderosa bark and promising each other that no matter what, they would never trade simplicity for cynicism. Those promises will now be tested in open court, far from the silent timber where their romance bloomed. Love in the shadows. When Rain exchanged aprons or hiking boots after her shift, Josiah often waited outside with thermos of berry tea. They'd drive dusty back roads until cell phone signals vanished, park, and sit on a truck tailgate trading childhood legends. He spoke of Kentucky coal country. She talked about sled dogs that howled at auroras. For a girl whose life had been televised, the absence of microphones felt like breathing pure oxygen. Josiah Lorton was 23, an orphan of the restaurant world, promoted young to head chef, yet already burnt out by 12-hour services. He admired Rain's frontier work ethic. She admired his patience with anxious tourists demanding gluten-free elk chili. By Christmas 2023, they made the relationship public. Her Instagram caption overflowed with nicknames. "My angel, my healer, my home, my forever." Some followers swooned, others winced, suspecting whirlwind romance. But Rain's heart, once shaped only by wilderness chores, decided it had waited long enough for gentleness. The engagement came on a fog-slick pier overlooking Lake Chelan. Josiah carved a ring box from fallen pine, inlaid with an opal he'd mined on a Utah vacation. Rain said yes before he finished asking. They recorded no video, posted no stories. Only when the ring glitter showed in a January selfie did fans piece it together. That same night, she typed "Goodbye Forever" in a reply to a troll who claimed she'd sold out. Few realized the phrase signaled shedding one identity for another. Marriage vows followed 3 weeks later inside a log chapel near Wenatchee. Amy read Corinthians. Noah played acoustic guitar, and a local pastor spoke gently of forgiveness. Absent were camera crews, Discovery executives, or glossy tabloid exclusives. The ceremony belonged to them alone, until a spectator leaked blurry. Photos to a gossip blog within hours, #RainBrown wedding trended. Offers for paid interviews poured in, all politely declined. Rain insisted, love doesn't need a sponsor, but love needs money, and North Star Ranch still hemorrhaged cash. Snowbird vet bills for rescue animals climbed. Court fees for Matt's rehab spiked. land tax arrears loomed. Rain and Josiah developed a plan, renovated the Shoes' lakeside cabin into a faith-based retreat. Kitchen where Josiah could teach bush cuisine and Rain could sell handcrafted soaps. Negotiations for the lease dragged. Paperwork vanished into someone's cluttered desk. Privately, Rain kept a letter journal where she weighed every decision against two lingering ghosts. Her father's credo, live free or die, and her own fear of letting fans down. The journal entry from April 10th, later leaked to TMZ, read, "If this cabin falls, we will plant vegetables in buckets. We'll cook over alderwood. We'll sing louder. Just keep believing." Those lines now echo through court filings like trapped birds. On April 11th, they drove to the cabin carrying measuring tapes and cleaning supplies. By sunset, they were under arrest, romance colliding head-on with reality. So what happened that night? Night of the arrest. Deputy Carlos Herrera's body camera footage begins at 1942, fading in on broken glass across a hardwood floor. The cabin's front window had been smashed inward, shards scattered between spruce needle piles and a tipped-over rain barrel. Rain Brown stands near the hearth, hands raised, palms trembling. Josiah kneels by an antique buffet, photographing cracked porcelain knobs. A neighbor's 911 call had reported loud banging and voices arguing about money. "Ma'am, step outside," Herrera orders. Rain complies, glancing once toward a framed landscape ruptured by a jagged hole. Outside, twilight hangs heavy. Backup cruiser lights paint the pines red and blue. Rain tries to explain that they have permission to assess the property, that her former manager quit answering emails. Herrera recites Miranda rights while another deputy, Singh, notes pry bar marks on the doorframe. In the patrol car, Rain whispers scripture, "The Lord is my refuge." Josiah stares ahead, jaw clenched. The booking at Okanagan County Jail moves quickly. Digital fingerprints, mug shots, confiscation of a multi-tool, and a bottle of anointing oil. Charge sheets list first-degree burglary, first-degree malicious mischief, and for Rain alone, second-degree. Trespass. Bail. None required. The magistrate trusts their local ties. Still, locked steel doors slam behind them for 68 uneasy hours. The media caught wind before sunrise. A dispatcher's cousin texted a blogger. By 6 a.m., TMZ published the mug shots beside snarky captions. Alaskan Bush People Meet County Bush League. Security footage later released shows Rain pacing her cell barefoot, reciting lyrics from Carrie Joe between silent tears. Detectives photographed every shattered relic inside the cabin. Civil War tintypes, Depression-era mason jars, a solitary cuckoo clock Rain swears was hanging crooked long before she entered. Damage tally, $27,480. The alleged owner, former manager Ellis McGowan, claimed sentimental losses beyond calculation, accusing Rain of trying to destroy contract evidence. He forwarded an email thread referencing unpaid royalties and final verdict negotiations from 2024. Insurance agents circled like ravens. At 14:03 on April 14th, detention officers unlocked Rain's cell. She thanked them, gathered her worn denim jacket, and stepped into milky spring sunlight. Reporters lined the sidewalk. "Rain, did you do it?" Someone shouted. She paused, met the lens, and said only, "Judge not, lest you be judged." Then she climbed into Josiah's pickup, the door shutting with a hollow thud that sounded to some listeners like the first note of a long, uncertain trial. In holding, Rain shared a cell with a school teacher arrested for unpaid parking tickets. The woman told reporters Rain spent 2 nights sketching mountains on scrap napkins, promising to mail the drawings once free. During the video arraignment, Amy watched from North Star Ranch, her hand resting on Billy's photo. She mouthed, "Stay strong," as the judge set the next hearing for late June, warning any violation would revoke their release. Lies ignited a firestorm. The internet runs on conflict, and Rain's arrest poured gasoline on a flame already licking her fandom's edges. Within days, the hashtag Final Verdict Rain trended alongside show clips sliced to imply foreshadowing. TikTok lawyers dissected Washington burglary statutes, claiming life sentences were possible. Context was scarce, hysteria plentiful. On April 19th, Rain opened Instagram and saw comment sections dividing like cracked ice. Some call her modern Jezebel, others typed hugs. She posted a white square quoting Matthew 7. Judge not lest you be judged. Beneath, she wrote, "It hurts my heart that my rainbows believe lies from someone who stole $43,000 from me." That someone was Ellis McGowan, once hailed as a marketing savant who secured brand deals for the Browns. Rain alleged McGowan forged her signature on endorsements, siphoning royalties meant for ranch repairs. She claimed he confronted him. He retaliated with slander and ultimately the 911 call. McGowan's lawyers fired back, framing Rain as spiteful over audits. They leaked an email where she threatened, "Return what you stole or the mountain will speak." Cable anchors chuckled, but detectives followed the money. Us Weekly obtained bank documents showing $42,937 transferred from a Rain Brown LLC account to McGowan's consultancy in 2024. Memo line: ad spend. Whether spending occurred remains unverified. Meanwhile, Rain's brother Bam Bam hinted at deeper corruption during a stream. Certain people wanted the Browns off their land, so developers could buy cheap. Conspiracy theories mushroomed. Was a cabin ready to set up to discredit Rain before a property battle? While speculation spiraled, Rain retreated to North Star Ranch, invoking a media fast. Josiah installed motion sensors. Birdie prayed on the porch. Gabe composed minor key riffs drifting across the ridge. Family unity looked like a storybook from afar, but insiders whispered tension. Some siblings feared more negative press might jeopardize future documentary pitches. Netflix had reportedly sniffed around for a revival, but executives now went silent. Civil attorneys urged Rain to settle quietly. Pay restitution, sign a non-disclosure, walk away. Pride, pushback. She filed a counterclaim alleging defamation and emotional distress, demanding McGowan apologize publicly. Negotiations collapsed. By May 1st, the docket listed Rain Brown versus Ellis McGowan, a parallel battlefield to the criminal case. Supporters remained loud. They organized prayer circles, sold Rain Innocent hoodies, and raised $5,000 for legal fees. Yet every headline echoed the same words: not good. With each click, the pressure on prosecutors to reach a decisive final verdict grew heavier, threatening to crush whatever piece Rain managed to salvage on her rugged hilltop. Courtroom whispers. Rain arrived for her preliminary hearing, wearing a navy blazer borrowed from Amy. Josiah stood beside her in a thrift store suit, a wooden cross tucked behind his lapel. The gallery teemed with reporters, and a sprinkling of locals hoping for a small-town spectacle. Judge Marisol Keating, stoic, glasses perched low, called the session to order with a sharp rap of the gavel. Prosecutor Denny Mullins outlined the state's case. Forced entry using a pry bar, malicious shattering of antiques, motive tied to missing financial records, aggravated factor of nighttime intrusion. He recommended a plea bargain. Admit guilt to second-degree burglary. Serve 24 months, pay restitution. Defense counsel Lionel Ruiz countered. No burglary. Only a contract dispute. No intent to steal, but only to retrieve what was owed. Ruiz handed the bench a binder labeled McGowan fraud evidence, including spreadsheets of missing royalties and unsigned contracts. Keating flipped through the pages, but warned the binder's contents were civil matters, not excuses for trespass. Still, she agreed to set evidentiary hearings where Rain's claims may mitigate her intent. A summer trial window opened. July 21st to 25th for jury selection, July 28th for opening statements. Rain's face tightened as the dates were read. Aloud, Josiah squeezed her elbow gently. Outside, cameras converged on courthouse doors. Ruiz addressed them briefly. We will prove our client acted to protect her livelihood, not to commit a crime. Legal analysts flooded podcasts with hot takes. Some argued the jury pool would sympathize with a reality TV underdog fighting corporate betrayal. Others pointed out that Washington's burglary law doesn't require theft, only intent to commit any crime inside the building, including malicious mischief. Life imprisonment is theoretically possible, but a first-time offender would usually receive less than 5 years. Still, headlines screamed life in prison, stoking hysteria online. Meanwhile, Rain clouds gather, literally. June storms pound North Star Ranch, complicating preparation. Siblings debated selling another parcel to cover costs. Birdie suggested crowdfunding. Bear balked, fearing more public scrutiny. Amy called a family meeting, opening Billy's journal and reading aloud, "The truth will walk out of the woods." The phrase made the room go still. Yet under the stillness, unease simmered. Late one night, Ruiz emailed Rain a spreadsheet estimating possible outcomes: acquittal, probation, or imprisonment until 2030. In the margins, she typed worst case, 5 to 7 years. Not good, but survivable with credit for good behavior. Rain stared at the words not good. They felt chiseled into stone. She shut her laptop and prayed for daylight, her Bible open beside her like a lifeboat. During recess, supporters waved cardboard signs reading, "Free the Bush Baby," outside. Drone footage captured the small rally and raced across Twitter within minutes, reigniting furious debates about guilt, fame, and justice. Each click added another stone to the mountain Rain would have to climb. Family under fire. The Browns have weathered blizzards, bear raid, and television cancellation, but nothing fractured them like Rain's pending trial. Amy assembled her children around the ranch's fire pit one moonless night, the same circle where Billy once preached resilience. Sparks spiraled upward as each sibling spoke, voices cracking under the weight. Gabe admitted he'd mortgaged his truck to help cover legal retainers. Bear confessed to selling digital rights to his wildlife photos for a cash advance. Birdie battled insomnia, fearing paparazzi might photograph her surgical scars. Noah, ever the inventor, designed rudimentary phone jammers to block drones from buzzing overhead. Bam Bam kept his camera shutter silent, documenting with his eyes instead of lenses, uncertain whether to sell the images later or bury them deep. Matt, a strange yet sober, phoned from California. "Lil' sis, if judges can't see your heart, the world's broken," he said. His voice crackled with static but sincerity. He promised to testify to Rain's character if needed. The gesture thawed years of frost between siblings. Rain wiped tears away with shaky hand. Josiah pulled her close, and Amy closed the circle with prayer. For a fleeting moment, unity outshone fear. The outside world, however, saw only opportunity. Tabloids published absurd stories. Composite sketches of Billy frowning from the clouds above a courthouse. A podcast alleged the Browns staged a burglary for attention. Discovery Channel denied involvement, but rumors stuck like burrs. Brands that once courted them ghosted their emails. One energy bar company even demanded the return of 5,000 promotional samples. Lawyers advised silence, but silence created a vacuum, and vacuums suck in speculation. Amy authorized a single interview with regional radio host Carla Dean. Her voice trembled but stayed steady. "My daughter is not a thief. She's a survivor." The broadcast exploded online. Supporter calls flooded in, but so did threats. One man promised to burn down North Star Ranch. Law enforcement traced the threat out of state, but the damage lingered like smoke. Financial walls continued crumbling. Insurance premiums skyrocketed due to past fire damage. Rain's countersuit required expert witnesses, each costing thousands. Bam Bam proposed licensing old footage to educational platforms. Noah suggested selling a solar water purification system he developed. Bear offered guided survival weekends, though insurers balked at the liability. Every idea felt like trying to plug leaks in a sinking ship. Still, in dark corners of the internet, a different story took root. Rain Brown, folk hero. Animated shorts depicted her swinging an axe against greedy suits, superimposing the phrase "final verdict coming soon" over roaring campfires. Whether such narratives would sway a jury was unknown, but they fueled morale across the wind-swept ranch. At sunset, Birdie and Rain knelt side by side, the light of fresh beacon fire. Its smoke curled into the endless sky. Beneath the weight of uncertainty, Rain leaned into Josiah, whispering, "No matter what comes, we don't lose each other." The family understood now Rain's trial would test not just her innocence, but the very spirit of everything Billy Brown built. Survival was no longer about chopping wood or hunting elk. Survival meant standing tall when everything else cracked under pressure. Guilty without a verdict, The frost clinging to North Star Ridge hadn't melted, but Rain Brown felt strip raw already, not by courtrooms, not by prosecutors, but by something far colder, the world outside. She barely checked her phone anymore. Every swipe showed another headline. Bush baby betrayal. Final verdict coming. Rain Brown's not-so-innocent wilderness life. News anchors who once praised her survival skills now traded jokes about mug shots. Former fans cropped her face out of family photos online. Even childhood. Friends she hadn't seen in years posted slide digs. Discovery Channel issued no defense. Netflix declined to comment. Sponsors quietly erased her name from marketing campaigns. Rain realized she hadn't just been arrested. She had been erased. Worse still, whispered threats stirred the air. A deputy close to the case hinted new charges could still come if investigators uncovered more property disputes tied to the alleged burglary. Rain's legal team warned her, the police aren't finished. You could still face civil suits or worse. Behind the thick pine walls of North Star Ranch, the Browns huddled close. Gabe sharpened knives silently. Bam Bam paced the porch at night. Josiah installed extra locks on every cabin door. A letter came from Rain's old manager's lawyers, demanding a public apology or risk facing $1 million defamation lawsuit. It wasn't just a court that loomed anymore. It was an invisible noose tightening day by day. At the heart of it all, Rain fought a war no one could see. One moment she was furious, convinced the truth would clear her name. The next, shame crushed her lungs until she could barely breathe. Was this what Billy had warned them about? The day when the outside world came crashing down on their isolated dream? One April afternoon, her lawyers called a private meeting in the bunkhouse. Rain sat at the cracked kitchen table, Josiah gripping her hand under the surface. "We have to be honest with you," her lead attorney said gently. "Even if you win a criminal case, even if you're acquitted, Rain, your reputation may never recover." Those words struck harder than any headline. It wasn't about evidence anymore. It was about perception, about the final verdict millions had already handed down, without waiting for judges or juries. After the meeting, Rain slipped outside alone. She thought about the promises she had made standing barefoot on frozen earth as a little girl. To live free, to live good, to live unseen by the poisonous noise of the outside world. Now, the noise had found her. The official courtroom verdict hadn't come yet. But in the real world, the final verdict had already landed, and for Rain Brown, it wasn't good. What's your take on Rain Brown's situation? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more exclusive updates.